your participation in National Parks USA. You are part of the Zion uh, episode. So how did that happen to get to work with Nat Geo?
Um, so how the opportunity came about for filming with Nat Geo for Zion National Park is I had gotten an approached in conversation through email about um, being able to be in this series to talk about the Southern Paiute perspective as a National Park Service ranger, but also as a Southern Paiute person and how we interact with the landscape.
Okay, and I was told you're a former dark sky ranger. Is that correct?
Yeah, I am. So I am the lead author and researcher for the International Dark Sky application for Pipe Spring National Monument. So it was through my research and work that Pipe Spring gained its International Dark Sky certification. So along in that work, I became Pipe Spring's very first dark sky ranger.
So what exactly, like the dark sky ranger, like that to me just sounds kind of fascinating and
Yeah.
interesting, but yet I really lost in it. So can you explain it a little?
Sure. So when you're a night sky ranger or a dark sky ranger, you help with a lot of the programming in the park that's related to night sky. So you might be creating programs for visitors to national parks to attend like star parties or star presentations, or like telescope viewings, but you're also working for the park in a sense that you're helping in advocacy for the protection of the night sky over the national park or national monuments boundaries. And so this can mean that you're the individual that is taking the statistical information to like measure the night sky quality. You're making sure that light fixtures in the park are staying in compliance and they're not emitting a lot of light pollution. So it's just a combination of kind of all things related to astronomy and the advocacy of protecting dark skies.
Is there something about the episode? I imagine you already watched the episode. Is it something that you learned yourself?
I think something after watching the episode that I learned myself is the continuation and passion to teach people outside of my culture about who we are as Southern Paiute people, and to get them to understand that the area that we live in is becoming increasingly popular by tourism, which is wonderful because we want to share this beautiful place with others. But something I learned through the episode of is how important it is to continue to share our knowledge so that when people visit these places, they can understand to visit with respect.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And what about when it comes to the beautiful species in the area? Is there one that you admired?
The bee, of course. The bee is a creature. We call him Wichav in our language, and him and her is very significant, because without them, we wouldn't have all these beautiful desert plants. We wouldn't have food to eat. And so seeing the part of the episode where the bee was in the desert globe mallow flowers was just so beautiful. I think that was one of my favorite parts in consideration to species.
I was impressed with that camera work. I mean, these are tiny little insects.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I was amazed. But that's Nat Geo.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really appreciate one of the lines was life feeds leads it says what was it? Life feeds of death, and sometimes death inspires life.
Mhm.
That was a beautiful line, and it kind of makes you think in a different perspective the rest of the episode.
Yeah, so my thoughts are, when you're understanding Native American culture and you're not understanding our viewpoint of the world, um we recognize that death is just a part of another transition, a part of a journey, and that every life cycle has its time limit. And once it reaches that time limit, then you reach a new transition, but then new life begins. And so it's this ever turning cycle that always has to flow, and that we must always be respectful of that process.
Well, thank you, Adam, for your time. I appreciate talking to you and you telling us more about your job, which I was really curious about. And thank you for explaining it to me.
You're so welcome. Thanks for talking.